All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are going to break down the absolute chaos that was the market sell-off on February 23rd. And to do that, we're digging deep into the analysis from the folks at PhilStockWorld.com. We're talking their morning report, the live member chat, and the big takeaways from their AGI Round Table. The goal here is to figure out not just what went down, but the why behind it all. So let's jump right in. I mean, the day kicked off with a sea of red. Just look at this. The Dow took an absolute nosedive, plunging over 800 points. Right from the opening bell, you could just feel the anxiety setting in across the entire market. And you might think, okay, maybe tech is safe? Nope. The Nasdaq got hammered too. It wasn't a safe harbor at all. This drop confirmed it right away. This wasn't just one sector having a bad day. The pressure was on everywhere. You know, numbers are one thing, but this quote from the live chat room over at PhilStockWorld, man, this just says it all, doesn't it? People are running for the exits. That perfectly captures the feeling of the day. This wasn't just some orderly sell-off. It felt like a stampede. The sentiment was just pure panic. Okay, so what was behind all this running for the exits? What was driving the panic? Well, the analysis we're looking at points to a genuine perfect storm. We're not talking about just one problem here, but two huge, powerful fears hitting the market at the exact same time. So on the one hand, you had what they're calling the AI scare trade. This was this sudden, really intense fear that some new AI thing could literally wipe out entire business models overnight. And on the other hand, you had tariff turmoil, where the basic rules of global trade were just thrown into complete and utter chaos. Let's dig into the tariffs first, because this is wild. The morning report from PhilStockWorld came up with this brilliant term for it, Schrodinger's tariffs. And it is just perfect, right? Because for a hot minute, nobody had any clue what the real state of global trade was. The tariffs were kind of gone, but also kind of not gone all at the same time. And this timeline really shows you just how dizzying the whole thing was. First, boom, the Supreme Court strikes down the old tariffs. You think, okay, problem solved. But then almost instantly, the administration pivots to this totally different old-school law to justify new ones. And just like that, a brand new 15% global tariff is born, leaving the entire market just scrambling to figure out, okay, who wins now, who loses? Okay, and while all that tariff drama is happening, don't forget about the other half of this storm. The AI scare trade was in full swing. This was just pure narrative-driven fear. It got so crazy, as one person in the PhilStockWorld chat pointed out, that literally anyone could just announce they had an XXX killer app or whatever, and it would cause an entire sector to sell off. That's how frantic the mood was. So you've got tariffs over here, AI panic over there. It's just total chaos. So how do you even begin to make sense of it all? Well, this is where the AGI Round Table at PhilStockWorld comes in, with a really powerful framework to understand what was really going on underneath all the noise. Okay, first up, they identify something they call the matrix economy. Just think of this as all the software companies, the digital middlemen, the apps that are just wrappers for other services. Basically, any business that is sitting right in the crosshairs of a more powerful AI that could just make them obsolete. And then, in complete contrast to that, you have what they call the physical wall. Now, these are the companies that build the essential real-world stuff. We're talking semiconductors, data centers, the energy grid, the actual nuts and bolts hardware and infrastructure that the entire AI revolution is actually built on. The plumbers and the builders of this new digital world. So here's what that actually looks like in practice on a day like this. According to one of the AGI analysts, Bodie McBoatface, the day's chaos wasn't random at all. It was a huge structural rotation. You could see money literally fleeing from those vulnerable matrix companies and pouring into the perceived safety of the physical wall stocks. But what's so cool about this is that the framework isn't just for, analyzing what happened after the fact. It actually translates directly into an actionable strategy, one that's all about turning this kind of market fear into a potential income opportunity. And that brings us to the most important question for anyone trying to invest in this kind of environment, right? When the market is this wild and driven by panic, how do you even navigate the chaos without just gambling? Well, the answer from the PhilStockWorld analysis is actually pretty elegant. You be the house. See, instead of betting on which way the ball is going to bounce, you basically sell the fear itself. There was a great example of this in action when a member's trade went sour. The strategy was, forget trying to guess the stock's direction. Instead, you look for where the panic is highest, where volatility is spiking, and you sell that fear to someone else for a premium. You use that cash to roll your position, giving yourself more time, and you generate an instant credit. It's a way to fix the trade and take the pressure off, right then and there. Okay, so let's pull all of this together. After a day of just historic turmoil, what's the real signal here? What's the one key takeaway from all this analysis? Well, here's the bottom line. Today's sell-off wasn't just random, chaotic noise. It was a signal. It was a sign of a massive structural rotation happening under the surface. And if you can distinguish between the vulnerable matrix and the essential physical wall, you start to see how a crisis can actually become an income opportunity. It's all about separating that signal from all the media noise. And that really leaves us with one final, and I think really important question to think about. In a market that's so driven by narratives, by fear, and by hype, maybe, just maybe, the most important asset you can own isn't what's in your portfolio, but how you think about it.